The council chamber stretched for hundreds of meters in every direction. Beings from 1,000 different worlds sat in their designated seats, waiting for the session to begin. Admiral Daniel Brooks stood alone at the center of the room. He wore his Earth Defense Force uniform, the blue and white colors looking plain compared to the exotic clothing of the aliens around him. Daniel had served as Earth's representative to the Galaxy Council for 3 years. In that time, he had learned one important truth. Most species in the galaxy looked down on humanity. They saw humans as newcomers, barely worthy of attention. The chairman struck his staff against the floor. The sound echoed through the massive hall. Chairman Vex Thor was a tall creature with 4 arms and skin that changed colors based on his mood. Right now, his skin showed dark red patterns. Daniel knew that meant anger or disapproval. "We gather today to discuss the human question," Vex Thor announced. His voice boomed through translation devices that every delegate wore. "Earth has requested full membership in the Galaxy Council. We must decide if they deserve this honor." Daniel felt his jaw tighten. He had submitted Earth's application 6 months ago. The requirements were clear. Earth had achieved faster-than-light travel. Humans had established peaceful contact with 3 alien species. The planet had a unified world government. Earth met every single requirement listed in the Council's charter. A delegate from the Korthan Empire rose to speak. The insect-like being clicked its mandibles together. "Earth is too young. Too violent. Their history shows endless wars. They still use weapons that destroy entire cities. We ended those wars," Daniel said, stepping forward. "Humanity united after the nuclear crisis of 2087. We have had global peace for 70 years. 70 years is nothing," another delegate called out. "My people have known peace for 10,000 years." The chamber filled with murmurs of agreement. Daniel looked around the room, searching for allies. He found none. Even the species that traded with Earth remained silent. Vex Thor raised one of his 4 hands. "The Korthan delegate raises valid concerns. But there is another matter we must address. Intelligence reports suggest humans are expanding their military capabilities at an alarming rate. We are building a defense force," Daniel explained. "The galaxy is not always friendly to new species. We have the right to protect ourselves, or to threaten others," Vex Thor countered. His skin shifted to deeper shades of red. "We have records of human behavior. You come from a death world. Your planet has gravity that would crush most species. You endure temperatures that would kill our people. You eat foods that are toxic to others." Daniel wanted to argue, but he knew the facts were true. Earth did have higher gravity than most inhabited worlds. Human bodies were built stronger because of it. The temperature ranges on Earth were extreme compared to many planets. And yes, humans could digest things that poisoned other species. "These facts make us adaptable," Daniel said. "Not dangerous. They make you a threat," Vex Thor replied. "A species built for survival on a harsh world will always seek to dominate. It is in your nature." The accusation stung because Daniel knew how wrong it was. Humanity had worked hard to overcome its violent past. People had chosen cooperation over conquest. Earth could have used its military strength to intimidate alien traders, but instead offered fair deals. Humans could have claimed uninhabited worlds by force, but followed galactic law. "I request that the Council review Earth's actual behavior," Daniel said, keeping his voice calm. "Judge us by our actions, not your assumptions." Vex Thor's skin flickered with orange patterns now. "Very well. Let us review." He gestured, and a holographic display appeared above the chamber floor. Images began to play. Daniel watched with growing horror. The display showed human military exercises, ships firing weapons, soldiers training in combat, construction of orbital defense platforms. Every image was real, but the context was wrong. "These images were taken over the past year," Vex Thor explained. "They show a species preparing for war, not peace." "Those are defensive preparations," Daniel protested. "Every species maintains a military." "Not like this," a delegate from the Xenar Collective said. "You build weapons designed to destroy ships much larger than your own. You train in tactics meant to overcome superior numbers. This is the behavior of an aggressor. Daniel felt the situation slipping away. He had to make them understand. We prepare because we are new to the galaxy. We know we are weaker than established powers. Of course, we train to fight against superior forces. What else would we do? You would trust in the Council's protection, Vexthor said. You would accept your place as a junior species. Instead, you arm yourselves as if preparing to challenge the entire galaxy. That is not our intention, Daniel insisted. Your intentions do not matter, Vexthor replied. Only the threat you pose. He looked around the chamber. I call for a vote. All those in favor of denying Earth's membership application and designating humanity as a potential threat to galactic peace. Daniel watched in disbelief as hundreds of hands, tentacles, and appendages rose into the air. The vote was not even close. The motion passes, Vexthor declared. Furthermore, I propose that we take preventive action. The human species must be neutralized before they can spread beyond their home system. You cannot be serious, Daniel said, his voice rising. You are talking about attacking Earth. About killing billions of innocent people. We are talking about protecting trillions of innocent beings across the galaxy. Vexthor corrected. The Council has the authority and the duty to eliminate existential threats. More delegates rose to speak in favor of military action. They cited human expansion rates, population growth, and resource consumption. They pointed to historical Earth conflicts as proof of human aggression. Some even suggested that humanity was too dangerous to allow survival. Daniel tried to speak, but his voice was drowned out by others. He attempted to present evidence of human peaceful intentions, but no one would listen. The decision had already been made before this session even began. Finally, Vexthor called for order. I propose we assemble an overwhelming force. 9,700 warships. The largest armada in galactic history. We will give humanity one chance to surrender. If they refuse, we will eliminate their capacity for space travel and enforce a permanent quarantine. The vote was called. The result was the same. Humanity would face invasion within 90 days. Daniel stood in the center of the chamber as delegates filed out. Many avoided looking at him. A few offered expressions that might have been sympathy. Most simply ignored him. Captain Lisa Morgan was waiting when Daniel returned to his ship. She was young for her rank, only 32, but she had earned her position through skill and dedication. She served as his military advisor and pilot. How bad? She asked. Worse than we feared, Daniel replied. He handed her a data chip. 9,700 ships. 90 days. Lisa's face went pale. That is 5 times larger than Earth's entire defense fleet. I know, Daniel said quietly. We need to warn them. We need to prepare. Can we win? Lisa asked. Daniel looked at the stars visible through the ship's viewport. Earth was out there somewhere, 40 light years away. Home to 10 billion people who had no idea what was coming. I do not know, he admitted. But we have to try. Lisa set course for Earth. The ship's engines powered up, and they jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, the Galaxy Council began assembling the largest invasion force ever created. They were certain of their victory. After all, what could one primitive species do against the combined might of the galaxy? They would find out soon enough. The emergency session began at midnight. President Karen Williams sat at the head of the table in the secure bunker beneath Geneva. Around her sat representatives from every nation on Earth. The room was quiet as Admiral Daniel Brooks finished his report. 9,700 ships, President Williams repeated. And we have what? 1,800? 1,743 operational vessels, General Frank Butler corrected. He was a veteran of the Unification Wars. A man who had seen the worst of human conflict and worked to prevent it from happening again. We are outmatched by more than 5 to 1. And their technology? Williams asked. Superior in most areas, Lisa Morgan said. She had been promoted to captain and now served as the chief military analyst. Their shields are stronger. Their weapons have longer range, Their ships are faster in normal space. The room fell silent. The weight of the situation pressed down on everyone present. Some delegates looked scared. Others looked angry. A few seemed resigned to defeat. "So we surrender?" a voice called out. It was Ambassador Chen from the Asian Union. "We give up without a fight?" "Never," William said firmly. "But we need to be smart. We cannot win a direct battle. We need an advantage." "What kind of advantage?" General Butler asked. Williams turned to a man sitting quietly in the corner. "Dr. Jackson, would you like to explain?" Dr. Peter Jackson stood up. He was 50 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent the last 15 years working on classified projects that most people did not even know existed. Now those secrets would become Earth's only hope. 12 years ago, we discovered something, Jackson began. During routine deep space exploration, we found an ancient device floating in the Oort cloud. It was not built by any known species. We have been studying it ever since. He activated a holographic display. Strange symbols and equations filled the air above the table. "The device manipulates gravitational waves," Jackson continued, "not just detecting them, but creating and controlling them. We have spent years trying to understand the technology. 3 years ago, we finally succeeded in building our own version." "What can it do?" Williams asked, though she already knew. She had been briefed on the project, but the others needed to hear it. "It can create artificial gravity wells," Jackson explained. "We can make areas of space where gravity is 10 times, 50 times, even 100 times stronger than normal. Ships caught in these wells will be pulled off course. Their engines will fail. Their crews will be crushed." A murmur ran through the room. This was new information for most delegates. "How many of these devices do we have?" General Butler asked. 47 operational units, Jackson said. Another 100 in various stages of construction. If we work around the clock, we can have 300 ready in 90 days. 300 against 9,000 ships, someone muttered. "Still not enough." "Noof. It is if we use them correctly," Lisa Morgan said, stepping forward. She brought up a map of the solar system. "The aliens will not know about this technology. It will be a surprise. We use that surprise to its fullest." She highlighted the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. "This is our battlefield. The belt contains millions of rocks ranging from pebbles to small moons. We know every inch of it. The aliens do not." "You want to fight in the asteroid field?" Butler asked. "I want to turn it into the largest minefield in history," Lisa replied. "We place the gravity devices among the asteroids. When the alien fleet enters the belt, we activate them. Ships will be pulled into collisions. Their formations will break apart. They will be confused and disorganized." "And our ships?" Williams asked. "We have trained in the asteroid belt for decades," Lisa said. "Our pilots know how to navigate it. We use hit-and-run tactics. Strike hard, then disappear into the rocks. Make them chase us into more traps." General Butler studied the map. "It could work, but only if they take the bait. What if they just go around the belt?" "Then we have other surprises," Jackson said. He brought up images of Jupiter and its moons. "We can place gravity devices in orbit around Jupiter. The planet already has massive gravitational forces. Our devices can amplify and direct those forces. Create kill zones that no ship can escape." Quote, "How long to set this up?" Williams asked. 60 days for the asteroid belt," Lisa said. 75 for Jupiter. We will be cutting it close." Williams looked around the table. She saw fear, but also determination. Humanity had faced extinction before. Ice ages, supervolcanoes, nuclear war. Each time, people had found a way to survive. "We proceed with the plan," Williams decided. "General Butler, mobilize every available ship and crew. Dr. Jackson, you have unlimited resources. Whatever you need, you get it. Captain Morgan, Coordinate the defensive positions. What about evacuation? Someone asked. Should we prepare to move people off Earth? Where would they go? Williams replied. This is our home. We stand and fight. The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made and refined. Resources were allocated. Communications networks were established. By the time the sun rose, Earth's defense strategy was in motion. Lisa Morgan found herself assigned to oversee the asteroid belt fortification. She took a transport ship to the belt and began inspecting the mining stations that would become weapons platforms. The miners were happy to help. These were tough people who had spent their lives working in the harsh environment of space. They knew how to survive. They knew how to fight. We can modify the ore processors, one miner explained to Lisa. He was a big man named Tony Grant. Turn them into mass drivers. Launch chunks of iron at high velocity. No fancy technology needed. Just basic physics. How much ore can you process? Lisa asked. Millions of tons, Tony said. We got plenty of rocks around here. Lisa smiled. Then let us make it rain metal. All across the solar system, preparations continued. Construction crews worked 20-hour shifts. Factories ran at maximum capacity. Volunteers flooded recruitment centers. Eager to defend their home, Dr. Jackson supervised the installation of gravity devices. Each one had to be precisely calibrated. A mistake could be as dangerous to human ships as to alien ones. We are walking a thin line, he told his assistant, a young woman named Rebecca Price. The devices are powerful, but unstable. If we push them too hard, they could tear apart space itself. What would that do? Rebecca asked. Create a black hole, Jackson said simply. A small one. Maybe only lasting a few seconds. But it would destroy everything nearby. Then we make sure that does not happen, Rebecca said. Jackson nodded. Yes, we do. On Earth, General Butler trained the defense forces. New recruits learned to fly in simulations that recreated the asteroid belt. Veterans practiced coordinated attack patterns. Everyone prepared for the fight of their lives. The aliens think we are primitive, Butler told his officers. They think we will panic and surrender. They are wrong. Humans do not break easily. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day. Storms, earthquakes, predators, disease. We survived it all. We will survive this too. President Williams addressed the world from the United Nations building. Billions of people watched as she spoke. In 90 days, we will face an enemy that believes we are not worthy of existence, she said. They see us as a threat to be eliminated. They are sending nearly 10,000 ships to enforce their will. They expect us to surrender. They expect us to beg for mercy. They do not understand who we are. She paused, letting her words sink in. We are humans. We are the species that crossed oceans in wooden boats. We are the people who split the atom and walked on the moon. We are the descendants of those who survived ice ages and plagues. We do not surrender. We do not give up, and we do not let anyone tell us we have no right to exist. The speech was broadcast across every channel. In homes and workplaces, people listened. Some cried, some cheered. All of them felt the same determination. The countdown began. 90 days became 80. Then 70. The work never stopped. Ships were modified, and weapons were tested. The gravity devices were placed and activated in test mode. Everything had to be perfect. Lisa Morgan barely slept. She moved between asteroid stations, checking every detail. The miners and soldiers looked to her for leadership, and she refused to let them down. You think we can win? Tony Grant asked her one night. They stood on the surface of a large asteroid, looking out at the stars. I think we have to, Lisa replied. So we will. 30 days before the invasion, the first line of defense was complete. The asteroid belt was now a fortress. Hidden among the rocks were gravity generators, missile platforms, and fighter bases. Thousands of human ships waited in concealed positions. Dr. Jackson activated the Jupiter network. The massive planet's gravity was now under human control. Weaponized, and ready. General Butler reviewed the final battle plans. Every ship had its assignment. Every pilot knew their role. The defense force was ready. President Williams received the final report. Earth had done everything possible. Now, they could only wait. Admiral Daniel Brooks stood on the observation deck of the orbital command station. He watched Earth rotate below him. The blue and white planet looked peaceful from here. Beautiful. Worth fighting for. They are coming, Lisa Morgan said, joining him at the window. Long-range sensors detected the fleet. 29 days out. 2 ahead of schedule, Daniel noted. They are eager to destroy us, Lisa said. Then we will disappoint them, Daniel replied. He thought about the council chamber, where aliens had decided humanity deserved to die. They had been so certain of their superiority, so confident in their judgment. They were about to learn a hard lesson. Never underestimate humans. Never assume you understand what they are capable of. And never, ever threaten their home. The wait continued. 29 days became 20, then 10. Earth held its breath. The galaxy was about to discover what humans could do when their backs were against the wall. The alien fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. 9,700 warships appeared in perfect formation, blocking out the stars. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Fleetmaster Zinoke stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was a proud warrior from the Draxian Empire, a species that had conquered 40 systems. His 4 eyes scanned the tactical displays, showing him the primitive human defenses. They have less than 2,000 ships, his second officer reported, and most are small patrol craft. This will not even be a battle. Zinoke agreed. The council had sent far too many ships for this task. It was like using a hammer to crush an insect. But the council wanted to send a message. Anyone who threatened galactic peace would face overwhelming force. Open a communication channel to Earth, Zinoke ordered. Let us give them a chance to surrender. And 1. The transmission was sent. Within minutes, a response came back. A human woman appeared on the screen. She wore a simple uniform and sat in what looked like a basic command center. I am President Karen Williams of Earth, she said calmly. Why have you brought a war fleet to our system? You know why, Zinoke replied. The Galaxy Council has deemed humanity a threat. You will surrender all military vessels and submit to quarantine. Your species will be confined to your home planet. You will never leave this system again. Williams stared at him through the screen. Zinoke expected fear, maybe anger. Instead, she looked almost sad. And if we refuse? She asked. Then we will destroy your space-based infrastructure and enforce the quarantine by force, Zinoke said. You cannot win this fight. You have 1 hour to decide. Williams nodded slowly. Then I suppose we have nothing more to discuss. Earth refuses your terms. The screen went dark. Zinoke felt a moment of surprise. He had expected them to negotiate, to beg for better terms. Instead, they had simply refused. Foolish, his second officer muttered. They choose death over common sense. Advance the fleet, Zinoke ordered. First wave will consist of 500 ships. That should be more than enough. The massive armada began moving deeper into the solar system. They maintained perfect formation, each ship exactly where it should be. It was a display of military precision, meant to intimidate any opposition. Captain Lisa Morgan watched from her command ship hidden inside a large asteroid. Around her, hundreds of human vessels waited in concealment. The miners had done excellent work hollowing out rocks large enough to hide entire squadrons. First wave entering the belt, her tactical officer reported. 500 ships. Just as we predicted. Activate perimeter sensors, Lisa ordered. I want to know exactly where every enemy ship is. The asteroid belt was thick with rocks, ranging from pebbles to mountains. Most species avoided it, finding the navigation too difficult. But humans had been mining the belt for decades. They knew every current, every cluster, every hiding spot. Enemy ships are spreading out, the officer said, trying to avoid collisions. Good, Lisa said. Let them get comfortable. On the alien ships, crews relaxed slightly. The asteroid field was annoying, but not particularly dangerous if you were careful. Their sensors showed no human ships nearby. The way seemed clear. Activate gravity traps, Lisa ordered. Throughout the asteroid belt, hidden devices came to life. Suddenly, areas of space that seemed normal became zones of crushing gravity. Alien ships that were carefully navigating suddenly found themselves pulled violently off course. The first ship smashed into an asteroid at high speed. The impact destroyed both the ship and the rock, creating a cloud of debris. Other ships tried to compensate, firing their engines to escape the gravity wells, but the devices were too strong. Ships collided with each other and with asteroids. Formations broke apart as pilots fought desperately to regain control. Alarms blared across the alien fleet as they realized they had flown into a trap. All wings, engage, Lisa commanded. Human fighters erupted from hidden positions throughout the belt, small, fast ships that could navigate the tight spaces between asteroids. They swarmed the confused alien vessels, targeting engines and weapons systems. Commander Jake Harrison led the first attack wing. He was 28 years old and had been flying in the belt since he was 18. No one knew this battlefield better. Focus on the big ones, he told his pilots. Disable their main ships, and the smaller ones will panic. His fighters dove and weaved through the asteroids, moving in patterns that would have been suicide for most species. But humans had trained for this. They knew exactly how close they could get to rocks without hitting them. Jake targeted a large alien cruiser that was stuck in a gravity well. The ship was trying to pull free, its engines straining. He fired a volley of missiles at the engine ports. The explosives hit their marks, and the cruiser's engines exploded. Scratch one cruiser, Jake reported. All around him, his pilots were scoring similar hits. The aliens could not believe what was happening. Their superior technology was useless in this environment. They could not form proper battle lines. They could not use their long-range weapons. And the humans were everywhere. On his flagship, Zino-K watched in growing horror as his first wave was torn apart. Get them out of there, he shouted. Full retreat. But retreating was harder than advancing. Ships that tried to turn around found themselves in more gravity traps. The humans had placed the devices in patterns that created a maze. There was no easy escape. We have lost 300 ships, his second officer reported, his voice shaking. Another 100 are disabled. That is impossible, Zino-K said. We outnumber them. We have better weapons. The environment favors them, the officer explained. They know this territory. We do not. Zino-K made a decision. Activate the gravity wells. Pull every ship back to this position. It took an hour, but eventually the surviving ships escaped the asteroid belt. Of the 500 sent in, only 97 made it out intact. Another 43 were damaged but functional. The rest were destroyed or captured. This is a temporary setback, Zino-K insisted, though his confidence was shaken. We underestimated their use of the terrain. We will not make that mistake again. He studied the tactical maps. The asteroid belt was clearly too dangerous. But there were other approaches. They could go above or below the belt, entering the inner system from a different angle. Prepare second wave, Zino-K ordered. 1,000 ships. We spread out, come at them from multiple directions. They cannot trap us all. The second wave launched. This time, the ships moved more carefully. They avoided the belt entirely, swinging wide around it. Some went high, some went low, all of them converging on Earth's position. Lisa Morgan tracked their movements from the command center. They learn fast, she admitted. But we expected this. She opened a channel to all defense forces. Execute Plan Delta. Fall back to the inner system. Make it look like we are retreating. Human ships began pulling back from the asteroid belt. They moved quickly, as if fleeing from the larger alien force. On the alien sensors, it looked like a rout. "They are running," Zinokei's second officer said with satisfaction. "We have broken their spirit. Pursue them," Zinokei commanded. "Do not let them regroup." The alien fleet accelerated, chasing the human ships toward Mars and Earth. They were confident now. The humans had used up their tricks. Now it was just a matter of numbers. What they did not know was that they were being led into another trap. Dr. Peter Jackson watched from a monitoring station on one of Jupiter's moons. His gravity devices were positioned in orbit around the gas giant, invisible to the alien sensors. "Enemy fleet entering the designated zone," his assistant, Rebecca, said. "How many?" Jackson asked. 923 ships, she replied. "The rest are hanging back, probably wary of another ambush." 900 is enough, Jackson said. The devices came online, tapping into Jupiter's massive gravitational field. The effect was immediate and devastating. Space itself seemed to twist and bend as artificial gravity wells opened up. Alien ships were caught like flies in honey. Their engines, designed for normal space, could not cope with the sudden increase in gravitational forces. Some ships were pulled toward Jupiter, accelerating uncontrollably toward the giant planet. Others were pushed away, sent tumbling through space. "Full power," Jackson ordered. The gravity wells intensified. Inside the alien ships, crews were pressed to the floor by forces many times normal gravity. Bones broke. Internal organs failed. Ships designed for the low gravity of most inhabited worlds could not handle the stress. Human ships emerged from hiding positions on Jupiter's moons. They had been built with Earth's higher gravity in mind. Their crews could withstand much greater forces. They moved through the distorted space with relative ease, targeting the helpless alien vessels. Lisa Morgan led the assault personally. Her ship, the Unity, was one of the newest in the fleet. It cut through the gravity fields and opened fire on a massive alien carrier. "Target their hangar bays," she ordered. "Do not let them launch fighters." Her weapons officer complied. Railgun rounds smashed into the carrier's launch bays, destroying dozens of fighters before they could take off. The carrier tried to return fire, but its weapons could not track properly in the intense gravity. All across the battlefield, the same scene played out. Human forces systematically destroyed or disabled alien ships that could not maneuver or fight back effectively. The gravity wells had turned the aliens' numerical advantage into a death trap. Zinokei watched helplessly as another wave was destroyed. "Shut down the pursuit," he ordered. All ships pulled back to the edge of the system, but pulling back was difficult. The gravity fields extended far into space. Ships had to carefully navigate out of the danger zone. By the time they regrouped, Zinokei had lost another 700 vessels. His second officer stood silent, staring at the casualty reports. They had lost more than 1,000 ships. Against a supposedly primitive species, it was unthinkable. "What are our orders?" the officer finally asked. Zinokei looked at the tactical display. He still had nearly 8,000 ships, more than enough to overwhelm Earth's defenses, if he could figure out how to engage them properly. "We commit everything," he said. "No more small waves. The entire fleet advances together. We will overwhelm whatever tricks they have left. There is no way they can stop 8,000 ships at once." His staff looked uncertain, but they relayed the orders. The entire invasion force began moving toward Earth orbit. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier, all or nothing. On Earth, President Williams received the report. "They are coming with everything," General Butler said. "This is it. The final battle." Williams nodded. "Then we show them what humans can really do. Activate the planetary defense grid. All ships to battle stations. The fate of humanity would be decided in the next few hours." The remaining alien fleet formed up at the edge of Earth's orbital space, 8,000 ships in tight formation, ready to end this battle once and for all. Fleet Master Zinokei stood on his bridge, determined to salvage victory from this disaster. "No more tricks," he told his officers. "We hit them with everything at once. Even if they have more traps, we have the numbers to absorb the losses and push through." Below them, Earth looked peaceful. The blue planet seemed so small compared to the massive fleet arrayed against it. Zin-Ok could see the lights of cities on the dark side of the world. Billions of humans going about their lives, unaware that their time was running out. All ships, advance, Zin-Ok commanded. The fleet moved forward in a solid wall of metal and weapons. This time, there would be no fancy maneuvers, no spreading out, just pure, overwhelming force. On Earth's orbital command station, Captain Lisa Morgan coordinated the final defense. "They are coming straight at us," her tactical officer reported. 8,000 ships in close formation. "Good," Lisa said. "They made it easier for us." She opened a channel to Dr. Jackson, who was positioned on the command station with her. "Are the planetary shields ready?" "All generators are online," Jackson confirmed. "But I need to warn you again. We have never tested them at this scale. If anything goes wrong, the energy backlash could damage the planet. If we do not use them, the planet gets destroyed anyway," Lisa pointed out. "We take the risk." President Williams appeared on the communication screen from the secure bunker in Geneva. "Captain Morgan, you have authorization to activate all defense systems. Do whatever you must to protect Earth." "Understood, Madam President," Lisa replied. The alien fleet entered Earth's orbital zone. They began spreading out, preparing to bombard the planet from multiple angles. Zin-Ok wanted to hit every major city simultaneously, show the humans the price of resistance. "Target their population centers," he ordered. "Once they see their cities burning, they will beg to surrender." But before the order could be executed, something happened that made every alien on every ship stop and stare. Earth began to glow. A field of shimmering energy spread out from the planet, expanding rapidly. It grew and grew, until it formed a complete sphere around the entire world. The shield was not like anything the aliens had seen before. It pulsed with gravitational energy, the same technology that had trapped their ships in the asteroid belt and near Jupiter. "What is that?" Zin-Ok demanded. "Some kind of planetary shield," his science officer said, scanning the field. "But the energy readings are enormous. It is using the planet's own gravitational field as a power source." "Can we break through it?" Zin-Ok asked. "Unknown," the officer admitted. "We need to test it." Zin-Ok pointed at a nearby cruiser. "That ship, fire on the shield." The cruiser launched a full weapons barrage at the glowing barrier. Missiles and energy beams struck the shield and simply vanished. The energy was absorbed and then redirected. Back at the cruiser that had fired, alarms began sounding. The weapons fire was returning. Not reflected, but teleported through the gravitational field. The cruiser's own missiles hit it from behind, where its shields were weakest. The ship exploded. "It turns our weapons back on us," the science officer said, his voice filled with disbelief. Zin-Ok felt his confidence crumbling. Every advantage his fleet had was being negated. They could not get close to the planet. They could not bombard it, and now they could not even attack the shield without destroying themselves. "Fall back to defensive positions," he ordered. "We regroup and think of another approach." But as the fleet began to pull back, human ships emerged from hiding. They had been concealed behind the moon, waiting for this moment. 1,700 ships, small compared to the alien fleet, but positioned perfectly. Lisa Morgan led the attack personally. Her ship, Unity, accelerated toward the alien formation. Around her, every human vessel opened fire at once. The aliens tried to respond, but they were still in close formation. Ships blocked each other's lines of fire. When they did shoot back, the human ships were too fast, too maneuverable. "Break formation," Zin-Ok ordered desperately. All ships engage independently. The tight formation began to dissolve. Ships moved apart, trying to create space to fight properly. But this is what the humans had been waiting for. "Now," Lisa commanded. Throughout the orbital zone, hidden weapons platforms activated. These were not ships, just automated systems that had been placed weeks ago during the preparation. They had been invisible to alien sensors, disguised as space debris. The platforms opened fire. Thousands of railgun rounds and missiles launched simultaneously. The aliens found themselves caught in a crossfire between human ships and stationary weapons. Commander Jake Harrison and his fighter squadron dove into the chaos. Their small ships were perfect for this kind of close-range battle. They targeted the alien command ships, the large vessels that coordinated the fleet. Go for their communication arrays, Jake told his pilots. Blind them, make them confused. His fighters swarmed around a massive battleship. The ship tried to shoot them down, but they were too small and fast. Jake fired a missile at the communication tower on top of the ship. The explosion cut off the battleship from the rest of the fleet. All across the battlefield, human fighters were doing the same thing. Cutting communication lines, destroying sensor arrays, making it impossible for the aliens to coordinate. On the orbital command station, Lieutenant Amy Peterson worked at her computer terminal. She was young, only 24, but she was the best computer specialist in the Earth Defense Force. I am in their network, she told Lisa. Their security is good, but it was designed to stop other aliens. Not humans. Hey, what can you do? Lisa asked. Watch this, Amy said. She sent a command through the alien communication network. Suddenly, hundreds of alien ships received orders to retreat. The orders appeared to come from Fleet Master Zin-Ok himself. The ships obeyed, turning away from the battle and accelerating toward the edge of the system. That will not work for long, Amy said. They will figure out the orders are fake. But it gives us a few minutes of confusion. Those few minutes were all the humans needed. With part of the alien fleet pulling back and the rest disorganized, the human forces pressed their advantage. They targeted engines and weapon systems, focusing on disabling ships rather than destroying them. Zin-Ok watched his fleet falling apart around him. Nothing was going according to plan. The humans were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to surrender. Instead, they were winning. All ships, he broadcast. Ignore previous orders. This is Fleet Master Zin-Ok. Stand and fight. We still have the numbers. We can win this. Some ships listened. Others were too damaged or too confused. The fleet that had seemed invincible was now scattered and bleeding. General Frank Butler watched from Earth's surface. He commanded the ground-based defenses, the last line of protection if the space battle was lost. But as he watched the tactical displays, he realized they might not be needed. The aliens are breaking, one of his officers said with amazement. They are actually retreating. Do not celebrate yet, Butler cautioned. They still have thousands of ships. If they regroup, they could come back stronger. On the moon, more human ships were launching from hidden bases. These were the reserves, held back for the final push. Fresh ships with full weapons and supplies joined the battle. Dr. Jackson monitored the planetary shield from the command station. The system was holding, but barely. The energy required to maintain a gravitational barrier around an entire planet was immense. We can keep it up for another 6 hours, he told Lisa. After that, the generators will overheat. Then we end this in 6 hours, Lisa replied. She opened a channel to all human forces, all ships, all platforms, maximum effort. We push them out of orbit, and we do not stop until they leave our system. The human fleet surged forward. Every ship, every weapon, every pilot gave everything they had. They had been preparing for this battle for 3 months. They had trained, sacrificed, and worked around the clock. Now it was time to see if it was enough. Jake Harrison's fighter squadron engaged a group of alien frigates. The frigates were faster than larger ships, but still not as maneuverable as human fighters. Jake led his pilots in a complex attack pattern, hitting the frigates from 6 different angles. One by one, the alien ships were disabled, their engines exploded, or their weapon systems failed. Soon, the frigates were drifting helplessly in space. All clear in Sector 7, Jake reported. Moving to Sector 8. Across the battlefield, similar reports came in. The tide had turned. The humans were winning. Zin-Ok made a final desperate decision. He targeted the orbital command station where Lisa Morgan was coordinating the defense. If he could destroy it, the human fleet would lose its central command. All remaining battleships, target that station, he ordered. Everything we have. 20 massive warships turned their weapons toward the command station. They fired simultaneously. A wave of missiles and energy beams streaked through space. Lisa saw them coming. There was no time to evacuate. The station could not move fast enough to dodge. "Brace for impact," she ordered calmly. But before the weapons reached the station, the planetary shield pulsed. The gravitational field extended outward, creating a protective bubble around the command station. The alien weapons hit the bubble and were absorbed, their energy redirected harmlessly into space. "The shield can move," Jackson said, equally surprised. "I did not know it could do that." "Neither did I," Lisa admitted, "but I am very glad it can." The battleships that had fired found themselves facing a new problem. The shield had absorbed their weapons, and now, that energy was being sent back. Waves of force struck the battleships, crushing their hulls like paper. Zeno K watched his final gambit fail. His battleships were destroyed, his fleet was scattered, and the humans were still standing. "Fleet Master," his second officer said quietly, "we have to retreat. We have lost." Zeno K wanted to argue. He wanted to find some way to win. But there was no denying reality. Of the 9,700 ships he had brought to Earth, less than 4,000 remained operational, and those were damaged, scattered, and demoralized. "Signal the fleet," Zeno K said, his voice heavy with defeat. "Full retreat. All ships fall back to the rally point outside the system." The alien ships began pulling back, trying to disengage from the human forces. But the humans were not letting them go easily. They pursued, continuing to attack until the last alien ship had left Earth's orbital zone. The alien fleet regrouped at the edge of the solar system. What had started as 9,700 ships was now barely 3,500. The rest were destroyed, disabled, or captured. Fleet Master Zeno K sat on his damaged bridge and tried to understand how everything had gone so wrong. "We need to leave," his second officer urged. "The humans could pursue us at any moment." "And go where?" Zeno K asked bitterly. "Back to the council to admit we failed? That we were defeated by primitives?" Before the officer could answer, alarms sounded throughout the ship. Human vessels were approaching. Not attacking, but surrounding the alien fleet. Zeno K watched as his sensors showed hundreds of ships taking up positions all around his forces. They were trapped. A communication request came through. Zeno K considered ignoring it, but what was the point? He accepted the call. Captain Lisa Morgan appeared on his screen. "Fleet Master Zeno K," she said calmly. "Your fleet is surrounded. Your ships are damaged. You have no chance of escape. I am offering you one opportunity to surrender." Zeno K felt rage building inside him. Surrender to humans? The idea was unthinkable. His species had never been defeated in battle. They were warriors. Conquerors. "You would slaughter prisoners?" he demanded. "Kill unarmed soldiers?" Lisa looked at him with something like pity. "We do not slaughter prisoners. That is what you expected from us. But it is not who we are. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated with dignity and respect." "And if I refuse?" Zeno K asked. "Then we will disable every ship in your fleet and take you by force," Lisa said simply. "You have lost this battle, Fleet Master. The only choice you have left is whether you lose with honor or without it." Zeno K looked around his bridge. His crew stared at him, waiting for orders. They were exhausted, scared, and beaten. He could see it in their eyes. They had no fight left. "I require assurances," Zeno K said finally. "My people are prisoners of war. They will be protected under galactic law." "Agreed," Lisa said. "Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." One by one, the alien ships shut down their weapon systems. Human boarding parties moved in, taking control of vessels and escorting crews to designated holding areas. The operation was organized and professional. No revenge attacks, no brutality, just efficient military procedure. On Earth, celebrations erupted across the planet. People poured into the streets, cheering and crying with relief. They had survived. Against impossible odds, humanity had defended its home. President Karen Williams addressed the world from the United Nations building. "Today, we proved something important," she said. "We proved that humans cannot be pushed around. We proved that our place in the galaxy is not determined by others, but by ourselves. And we proved that even when faced with overwhelming force, we do not break." The speech was transmitted across the solar system. On captured alien ships, translation devices allowed the prisoners to hear Williams' words. "But we also proved something else," Williams continued. "We proved that we can show mercy. The alien soldiers who came to destroy us are now our prisoners. They will be treated fairly. We will not sink to the level of those who would commit genocide. We are better than that." In the holding areas on various human stations, alien prisoners listened. Many had expected torture or execution. Instead, they received medical care, food, and quarters that, while simple, were clean and safe. Human guards were professional, not cruel. One alien soldier, a young Draxian named Krell, spoke to his human guard. "Why do you treat us well?" "We came to kill you." The guard, a woman named Sarah Martinez, shrugged. "You were following orders. You did not make the choice to invade. That was your leaders. Besides, you are prisoners now. We have laws about how to treat prisoners." "But we would have destroyed your cities," Krell insisted. "Killed your families." "Maybe," Sarah said. "But you did not. We stopped you. Now you are just people who lost a battle. That is all." The simple humanity of the response shocked Krell more than any violence could have. On the orbital command station, Admiral Daniel Brooks prepared for the most important transmission of his life. He was about to contact the Galaxy Council and deliver Earth's message. Dr. Peter Jackson had helped him compile video footage from the battle. Every important moment was captured. The alien fleet arriving in overwhelming numbers. The battles in the asteroid belt and near Jupiter. The final confrontation in Earth orbit. Everything was documented. "Are you sure about this?" Lisa Morgan asked. She stood beside Daniel, still wearing her combat uniform. "They need to see what happened," Daniel said. "The council thought we were weak. They need to understand they were wrong." The transmission was sent to the council chambers. Chairman Vex's Thor and thousands of delegates gathered to watch. They expected to see Earth burning and humans begging for mercy. What they saw, instead, shocked them into silence. The video showed human forces systematically defeating the invasion fleet. It showed clever tactics, brilliant strategy, and devastating effectiveness. It showed the aliens being trapped, outmaneuvered, and ultimately beaten. When the video ended, Daniel's face appeared on the screen. He stood straight, his voice firm. "Members of the Galaxy Council," he said, "you sent 9,700 ships to invade Earth. None of them are returning to you. They have all been destroyed or captured. Your invasion failed." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted, argued, and demanded answers. How could this have happened? How could primitives defeat the galaxy's finest military force? Vex Thor struck his staff against the floor, calling for order. His skin showed patterns of purple and blue, colors that indicated shock and shame. "This is not possible," he said. "Your forces are inferior. Your technology is primitive. You believed that because you wanted to," Daniel replied. "You never actually studied human capabilities. You just assumed we were weak because we were new. That was your mistake." 1. There were 7 times 0 they won. Were 7 times 0 they won. Were 7 times 0 they won. Also time 1. Were 7 times 0 they won. He gestured, and more footage appeared. This time it showed the alien prisoners receiving medical care and food. It showed human guards treating them with respect. "We have your soldiers," Daniel said. "Thousands of them. We could execute them as war criminals. They came here to commit genocide. But we will not do that. Because unlike you, we do not punish people for the crimes of their leaders." Vex Thor seemed to shrink in his chair. Around the chamber, delegates who had voted for the invasion looked away in shame. "The prisoners will be returned to you," Daniel continued. "All of them, unharmed. We will even repair some of your ships so they can make the journey home. We do this, not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to show mercy." He paused, letting his words sink in. "But understand this clearly," Daniel said, his voice growing harder. "Earth will not tolerate threats to our existence. You declared war on us. You lost. If anyone attempts this again, the outcome will be the same. We have proven we can defend ourselves. Do not forget this lesson." 1. "What do you want from us?" Vex Thor asked, his voice subdued. "Recognition," Daniel said. "Earth demands full membership in the Galaxy Council. We have met every requirement. We have demonstrated our strength. You will grant us our rightful place, or we will take it." "You would declare war on the entire galaxy?" a delegate asked. "No," Daniel said. "We would simply ignore the Council and do as we please. You tried to enforce your will on us and failed. You have no power over Earth. You can either accept us as equals, or become irrelevant to us." The Council went into emergency session. The debate lasted for hours. Some delegates wanted to refuse, to maintain their pride. Others argued that Earth had proven its case. A few wise voices pointed out that making an enemy of humanity would be foolish. Finally, a vote was called. The result was close, but decisive. Earth would be granted full membership in the Galaxy Council, with full voting rights and all privileges. When the news reached Earth, the celebrations began again. Not just because they had won the war, but because they had won their place in the galaxy. President Williams met with her military leaders in Geneva. General Frank Butler, Captain Lisa Morgan, Dr. Peter Jackson, and Admiral Daniel Brooks all gathered around a table. "What happens now?" Butler asked. "Now we rebuild," Williams said. "We repair the damage from the battle. We help our new prisoners adjust to life here, while we arrange their return. And we prepare to take our seat on the Council." "Do you think they will accept us?" Lisa asked. "Truly accept us?" "Some will," Daniel said. "Others never will. But it does not matter. We have proven ourselves. That is what counts." "We also learned something important, Doctor," Jackson added. "Our technology is not inferior. We just use it differently. The gravity manipulation, the environmental advantages, the tactical flexibility. These are all human innovations. The galaxy has much to learn from us, and we have much to learn from them," Williams reminded them. "We are not conquerors. We are explorers. We defended our home, but we do not seek to dominate others." 3 months later, the prisoner exchange took place at a neutral location. Thousands of alien soldiers were transferred to Council ships. Many seemed reluctant to leave. They had seen a different side of humanity during their captivity. Krell, the young Draxian soldier, spoke to Sarah Martinez one last time before boarding the transport. "I will tell people what I learned here," he said. "That humans are not monsters. That you are honorable. Just treat others the way you want to be treated," Sarah replied. "That is all we ask." Admiral Daniel Brooks took his seat on the Galaxy Council for the first time as a full member. The other delegates watched him with a mixture of respect and fear. Earth had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. "I want to make something clear," Daniel said during his first speech. "Earth does not seek conflict. We want to trade, to share knowledge, to explore together. But we will defend ourselves and our allies. Anyone who threatens us will face the same fate as the invasion fleet." Chairman Vex's Thor listened from his seat. He had been demoted after the failed invasion, but allowed to keep his position. It was a humiliation, but he accepted it. "The Galaxy Council acknowledges Earth's position," Vex Thor said formally. "Welcome, Admiral Brooks. Welcome to the Council of Worlds." Back on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. The defense networks remained active, but the immediate threat was gone. People went back to work, to school, to their daily lives. But they were different now. They knew their place in the galaxy. They knew what they were capable of. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the observation deck of the orbital command station, looking down at Earth. The planet glowed blue and green, peaceful and beautiful. Commander Jake Harrison joined her. His fighter squadron had been awarded the highest honors for their performance in battle. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That we did something important," Lisa said. "We showed the galaxy that humans matter. That we have a right to exist, to explore, to be part of this larger community. We also showed them not to mess with us," Jake added with a smile. "That too," Lisa agreed. Far across the galaxy, in the Council archives, a new entry was recorded. It detailed the invasion of Earth and its outcome. The entry was marked as required reading for all military academies across thousands of worlds. The lesson was simple. Never underestimate humanity. Never assume they are weak because they are young. And never, ever threaten their home. The Galaxy Council had sent 9,700 ships to invade Earth. None of them had returned as victors. It was a lesson that would be remembered for generations. Earth had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through courage, ingenuity, and the will to survive. And the galaxy would never forget it.